welcome the Borderlands Unitarian Universalist for a BAJA 4 worship service for all that is our life. We are the BAJA 4 Innovative Worship Team. Reverend Bethany from UUCT, Reverend Tina from Sky Island UU, Reverend Dr. Samantha from Mountain Vista UU, Jamili Omar, who is UUCT's Director of Lifespan Faith Development, Chris Tackett, MVUU's Music Director, and Brian Moon, UUCT's Music Director, is joining us virtually from that congregation. Like so many others from all of our congregations across southern Arizona, we are over 65 participants at this moment are joining us virtually. I'm Reverend Matthew, serving Borderlands Unitarian Universalist, and along with our Zoom host, Kristen, she is in there, and Robin from MVUU, they're doing co-host duties. Our greeter this morning, Judy Harmer. Our kitchen wizard, Barb Mashenko, who's preparing refreshments later for our in-person fellowship, but there's also an online fellowship so you all who are here virtually, please stick around to join in that fellowship as well. We, the Borderlands Unitarian Universalist members, friends, and guests, we welcome the entire BAJA 4 this morning. It's very exciting for us to be together. It is with our thanks and praise for all that is our life. All that is our life. And that means everything from the peaks of joy that we come together to celebrate to the troughs of loss and suffering that we hold one another through. And all that is in between. The motion of our lives lies in between those highest and those lowest points. Day by day, we move forward while in transition between peak and trough and peak. Now, many years ago, before I came to serve Borderlands, my family and I were part of the Great Y Youth Circus in Redlands, California. Did you ever have an opportunity to go see a performance there?
No.
It wasn't far from your home.
I know.
And there, I learned to perform aerial tricks 30 feet up in the air and how to take an accidental but inevitable fall. And I was taught that the transitions, that time and that space between the trick and the fall were vitally important. You see, we'd go to the circus to witness the fantastic feats of aerial acrobatics, but not to see the preparation in between. We don't want to come and be distracted by that. Instead, we want to see the trick, and some people do want to see the fall. But circus craft teaches that you must give care to transitions, acknowledging them, tending to their needs of the in-between as part of the show. And that's what we mean when we sing for all that is our life, for everything that we give thanks and praise. Yes, for the peaks, and yes, for the troughs, but for the transitions, the space in between. And this is what we come to recognize and honor and tend to today, to hear the needs of every day and to acknowledge the transitions that we must engage in between. We are the BAJA 4, representing Unitarian Universalists across southern Arizona. And though we come from many different places, we share a common covenant of our Unitarian Universalist principles.
I bring earth from Northwest Tucson, the land of Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation. May we be grounded by this earth.
I bring air from the Huachuca, Mule, and Dragoon Mountains that surround Sky Island Unitarian Universalist Church. May we be enlivened by this air.
I bring water from deep below this building, which nourishes the land and all the creatures across borderlands, Unitarian Universalists.
May we be nourished by this water.
And I bring fire, source of all creation, from the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. May we be
Inspired by this fire.
From this land, this air, these waters, this fire, we know that we are part of a great interdependent web of creation which holds us all. As Unitarian Universalists, we join together as the BAJA Four to acknowledge our interdependence with one another and with this earth. We gather as the BAJA Four. We are stronger together.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need those friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have
So I often quote an insight by Margaret Wheatley, so if you've heard me say it before, forgive me, but I think it's key to why church is important to us now. She's a management consultant, a writer, a thinker, and she says in the last 400 years, we in the West have tried to make humans more efficient, more reliable cogs in the wheel of a system of production. But we are not machines. And church is a place, one of the few places, we are encouraged to show up, not because we are perfect and complete, but because we have needs, right? And as Unitarian Universalists, I think fairly recently, we've started to talk about embodiment, having these organic, amazing things that are not perfect and not machines. And for me, church is a place where in the middle, there's this blur of activity of the people who know what to do and can do it. But then on either side, there are people who may be slower because their bodies are changing, whether they're under 5 or older or not even older, but just because they have to sit more. And I have found in churches, those two groups look at each other and see each other, and it's very important. And really, they should be highlighted to remind us we are human. We have needs, physical, psychological, mental, spiritual. That's why we're at church and we're together. When I lost all my grandparents except for one by the time I was 3. And the other one lived in Australia. It's pretty amazing. I met her 4 times in my life before she died when I was 13. So as a child, we moved in and out of Washington, D.C. because of my father's job. And the one constant was our church. And I remember my first real memories, I was 9, and I arrived at the church, and an older couple who were the just de facto greeters welcomed everyone, no matter who was on the schedule. They handed me over to 2 kids to take to Sunday school, but I felt bereft because I really liked them. And in that church, this is the early 70s, kids got to write, the contemporary service. We got to write our own songs. We got to perform them. So as a kid, I felt seen and valued and loved, and I had tons of grandparents right there. And a little bit later, you're going to hear the words from 2 of our elders in the BAJA 4. I want to thank Jody for putting together, she's part of our team, putting together this really interesting sort of dialogue between 2 elders. What amazes me about it is, of course, they are so individual. As we get older, we become more ourselves and more unique. But both of them really see and value younger people. I think there's a 2-way gaze there. The love I got from my church grandparents is the reason I have any confidence today. And I think it goes both ways. So I am really grateful to our elders who are wiser, who are learning, who are teaching. And I encourage all of you to open your hearts and minds and listen, open to learning and love as you hear both Jean and Patricia speak.
My name is Patricia Burr, and I'm a member of Sky Island Unitarian Universalist Church in Cochise County in Sierra Vista.
I'm Jean Rashan with the Borderlands UU congregation.
Oh, I became a Unitarian many years ago. I had been Catholic and had 16 years of Catholic education. But anyway, I kind of just wanted to look at things in a more broad way.
I'm so grateful to have been part of this congregation, particularly in this last phase of my life. I'll share that my sense is that I was very slow to develop, even as a young adult, and that I have been getting to make up for this in later life, surprisingly.
We all come from such different backgrounds and had such a different relationship with our backgrounds. So, I come from a Catholic background, but my outlook is very different probably, but from some other Catholics. And I do think that I would like a spirit of respect, because there are people who feel offended when they hear the word God in church. And I understand that. And I feel some compassion, because I remember myself, remember how I felt, oh no, at church. But I think that we just need to understand, I need to understand too, that everybody's in a different place in their Unitarian journey.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is this sense of belonging. And for myself, even though I'm not contributing in a way that I used to, I want to feel that I still belong, that I'm still valued, and that I'm still a vital part of this congregation.
I used to get very involved in planning services, and I've spoken as well at a service, more than one. And I don't see myself doing much of that anymore, but I just feel kind of mellow about the whole thing. And I just want to, I don't want to force anybody into a sort of a vice of beliefs, I just have my own thoughts about it. And it's kind of a private thing. And it's often difficult to explain to other people.
I want to feel connected to a larger whole that will help provide a sense of meaning and purpose in my life, that will help guide me during this last phase. I look to the congregation to help provide hope and give me the self-confidence to carry on with the journey despite many losses at this time. Loss of friends and loss of parts of myself.
I like the idea of offering my wisdom in some cases, but then some young people just have so much more wisdom than I have. It's just amazing.
It would be nice if we could encourage more families with young children. I think it would broaden our connections.
I love having children in the church. And I love the programs that we've had where when we had children in the church, where the children participate. It does give me a lot of hope for the future. And I've seen, we've seen several of the young people who belonged to the church when they were very young and seen them grow up. And they, I just have a sense of them turning into such wonderful, wide awake people. And that gives me hope for the future.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing a song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have
So transitions need a ritual. And rituals need a witness. So why would a transition need a ritual? There is another saying, I like the machine one, Tina, that humans are not born, humans are made. Which is not to say that you're not human. I believe you, all of you. But it is to say that your humanness is crafted. And when there is a craft involved, sure, you can spend many decades working on it and get better at it. And some of us come at it intuitively. Some of us come at it for survival. But a craft suggests practice. Something you've practiced at. And if practice is anything, it's ritual. And what ritual must we all go through over and over and over and over again, such that the choreography becomes a dance, becomes like groove in the hand? Transitions. The art of being one thing, becoming another thing, and the death that happens in between. Life, death, life. Now you are at some level born knowing this, yet unfortunately our culture, machine-like it is, for better or worse, teaches us a different dance. It is the dance of life, 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 a little bit like a stock market fantasy. The insistence on constant life is not about love of life at all. Just like insisting on one's undying love is not really about love. Controlling, wanting something to never change is not love. I know from my own experience that children know how to be with death better than us adults. I've witnessed children be with dead bodies more naturally than adults do. I have watched children release themselves to grief, unless stopped by adults, more readily than adults do. I have watched children release themselves to love more shamelessly than adults do. And perhaps it is because as adults, each of us has had in our own lives one too many botched transitions, moments that mattered, that went unnoticed. And we would prefer not to risk another experience of our lives unseen. Think of all your small and big deaths from childhood on. Your first pet. Friends that moved or changed grades or just stopped playing with you. Parents who divorced, who got sick, your parents who died. Groups that once defined you and shaped you, churches you once called family, houses you once called home, places and people that you left or that left you. Your changing body. A member at MVUU, Bill Killian, yesterday was telling me he was working on leaving. He mentioned specifically that he was working on, quote, the ability to leave my house well each morning. And the other, the ability to leave a conversation well. These are the daily rituals of transitions and death. So if we want to be part of this great craft of making humans, which I think, damn it, liberal communities should, we have to attune ourselves to transitions. Now, I love interim ministry. It is an otherworldly time where, at its best, a community unlikely in a countercultural moment commits to the collective ritual of dwelling in a transition. It is also the ritual of being with a leader who will leave you. Interim ministers come pre-fired. We are sitting ducks. We aren't going to be your minister for life. So why trust or accept us? Why listen to what leaves you? My own therapist once told me after my wedding to my ex-husband, to be clear, you two, you will leave each other, either by choice or by death. Loving anything includes embracing its ending. A key component of interim ministry is the art of leaving well. That loving and honoring anyone, that building relational health among a people involves having a collective experience of a good death together. This is not dissimilar to the experience of being at the bedside of someone you love as they are dying. The task then is simple. Don't miss it. Just don't miss it. We miss these moments in a million socially acceptable and tragic ways. We make ourselves busy, usually with the next thing. We hurry, we deflect, we downplay. We fear unreciprocated mattering. We fear we are asking too much. It's hard to ask for what you need when many of us have learned that what we need doesn't matter and won't be taken seriously. At the beginning of my divorce, I asked my friends for a ritual. My marriage had looked really nice on the outside, and yet so much was unsaid that I was responsible for. I needed to say it to friends who were quite busy protecting me about how wrong the other guy was. So I sweetened the deal by inviting my friends to an all-day outdoor spa with margaritas. But that night, we gathered in my home. We placed all the symbolically heavy ritual items of my marriage at the center of the room, and we sat in a circle. I handed them a list that I had written with all the hard questions I wished people were asking me. I got a box of Kleenex, a computer, and 3 rules. You are only allowed to ask questions from this list. You have to type up everything I say so that I can read it in the morning. And you can't save me. And they did just that. You can only imagine what happened that night. I was wrung out. It is too easy in the discomfort of endings that matter to us to make light of how they feel in our hearts. And it is too easy, we being a messy, wounded collective of adults with too many botched transitions among us, too many goodbyes unsaid, too many deaths unwept, and too many moments that mattered to us, that needed more care. And we were too afraid to ask, didn't know what to ask for. It would be too easy to botch one more. So I have a proposal. Let's not. Why? Because we're stronger together, but because we collectively are in a moment right now where humans are being made, where you are being crafted, and you are worth it.
Every transition needs a ritual, and every ritual needs a witness. Sam, your story of the divorce could just be, that's my message. Bye.
Cheater!
I am no cheater. We have transitions that we mark with rituals when we gather. The grieving that comes after death, so we do that well. The grieving that needs celebrations of life when friends and families of the deceased, those around them, gather to witness to that person's life and to grieve our own grief. Marriages, too, need celebrations in the forms of weddings, however they happen, when we gather to witness the promise that people make to each other when they agree to journey for a time together. Expecting parents need showers, which are not only about the games and the cake, oh, those are fun, but they're also about gathering people to witness to that upcoming transition in the person's life, the people's lives, the family's lives. New houses need housewarmings. School completions need graduations. Retirements need parties. Transitions need rituals. And it is no accident that so many of the rituals that we already have created to mark the transitions in our lives are focused on gathering witnesses. When we invite witnesses into the rituals of our lives, we give them an invitation to let us be known, to let us be held as we mark that transition. In the story of the burning bush from the Jewish and Christian sacred text, God appears to witness to Moses' transformation into a prophet. Moses sees this burning bush and realizes that he is being called to take on the mantle of prophecy, and he says, "Here I am." In that moment, God in that story serves as a witness to Moses' transformation from person to prophet, one he had been fighting for a while and continued to fight for a while. But with that new call to be a way, find a way to be a prophet for his people, Moses leads the Jewish people out of Egypt and on a 40 or more year journey to their promised land. Now, you know that as Unitarian Universalists, we do not place our common belief in the presence of any one divine being or any divine being in some case, but we still have transitions, personal transformations, and we still need witnesses. In this faith, we serve as witnesses to each other. We need to at times be that burning bush, and at times be Moses, and at times be the community that surrounded Moses as he carried the mantle of prophet. We need to offer one another the gift of witness. We need to say, "Here I am." To witness well, we must know and be known, hold and be held. In some ways, we know how to witness rituals. In some ways, we know how to invite witnesses into the many transitions of our lives. And in other ways, for a multitude of reasons, Sam named some of the ways, we do not have common rituals. We do not often invite others to witness those more tender transitions in our lives. We don't often ritualize new things, new jobs, new careers, new homes, new moves. We don't often ritualize empty nests, diagnoses, divorces and breakups, etc., etc. What if these transitions too are worthy of rituals? And they are. What if the transition you are approaching right now, however big or small, needed a ritual? Who would you invite to witness that ritual, that transition? What would you need of your witnesses? What list of questions would you have them ask you? How do you need to be known and held in this transition that you are approaching right now? And on the flip side, if you were invited to witness, if you were given that list of questions, and if you were invited to witness an unconventional ritual, how could you let another feel they are known and held? In a moment, we are going to invite you into small groups, wherever you are, whether you are online or in person somewhere. And we are going to ask you to focus on an upcoming transition in your life, and to invite reflection on what it might be like to invite witnesses to a ritual to mark that transition. The two questions we will be asking you to reflect on in small groups will be on the screen in a moment. And they are, what transition in your life risks going unnoticed? And what might happen if you let it be known?
We're going to take a moment to hear the nuggets, as in a word, of what you just shared with one another. And one thing that just happened here that we would name is this saying that the congregation is the curriculum. And so it matters that during the service, you're in relationship with each other. So coming out of that, I'm going to invite my colleagues to stand with me. And we want to hear the words that you want to remember. And then in the chat on the screen, Reverend Matthew's getting it so that we can see the chat box coming up here. We'll do our best to get that going. But here at Borderlands, what are the words you want to remember? And I'll repeat them back. Support. Grief. Community. Love. Relationships. Hard. I'm going to say hard again. Together. Comfort. Snowbirding. Snowbirding and rainbirding. And then in a chat for our community, trust, importance of allies, rejoining, tears. Acceptance. For all of our Zoom, intention, stories, togetherness. And in this sea of words, imagining each of the personal transitions you are going through, we also recognize collective transitions. We know I am leaving Mountain Vista at the end of my time, but we also recognize another transition among us that not all of our four congregations are aware of. And so we want to offer a moment to acknowledge that one here too.
As Borderlands Unitarian Universalist knows, and some others, I will be leaving Borderlands on June 30th for new places and new things to do. And in this transition, I would echo back what I've heard already said here. Community and comfort and trust, forgiveness and truth and hope.
We are stronger together, and you are not alone. May you know this in your heart in every transition, especially this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we could call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is an answer. A child is born among us and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination freely running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of this child. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a time to be together. And with the grace of age, we share the wonder of youth. And we believe that growing is an answer.
Hi everybody. As the Director of Lifespan Faith Development at the EU Church of Tucson and the BAJA 4, I have the distinct pleasure of working with our children and youth. And because they often arrive with adults, I get to work with adults of many, many generations. Today, we wanted to hear from our families, specifically the families that have children in their homes, to ask how we as a community can support them as they experience all the different life transitions that they and their children go through. We witness many formally and officially, our child dedications, our coming of age services, our bridging services, and through them, through those witnessing, we commit our collective hearts to the care and growth of the young people in our midst. Today, we hear from them directly, from our children, from their parents, what they want and need in other times of life, not our child dedications, not our coming of age, and not our bridging. How we may help them care for their hearts and souls of their young people.
Tell us your full name.
Juniper Janelle Duke.
And what's your brother's name?
Henry Sage Duke.
Wonderful. And what do you want from the grown-ups here at church or from church?
Play a lot.
That's a great thing to want.
Katie, what do you want for your family here at church?
You know, we're here for community. We're here to widen our circle.
Hey. Anything else you want to add?
And it's I think Henry's here for love too. Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Well, Henry's here to give us love.
Yes, that also true. He is. Yeah.
My name is Kristen Wisniewski Blum, and this is
Matilda.
And
Jennifer.
Matilda and Evelyn Blum.
What do you need from your congregation physically?
Physically, I need a place that is welcoming for our family, and Borderlands UU certainly has been. The first time that we were walking through the doors, we were greeted with smiles and coloring books and markers, and any place that we sat, there was a friendly face right next to us, and that was a really good thing. Being at Borderlands UU, we're definitely one of the lucky families because we have an incredible community of elders in our congregation, and what I would need from them has certainly already started, but we have just incredible role models here that are doing things in the community and that create ripples of impact that I am able to learn from and then also contribute to. And I certainly need support in understanding how to make confront the hard challenges and work through the big problems that we have ahead of us. So I'm incredibly grateful that these elders and role models are in this congregation, and I look forward to working with them.
This is Adelina Lopez, and then our 3-year-old is Eliazar Lopez. She goes by Lena, and he goes by Laser. And she is almost 4 months, and Laser is 3.5.
And what do you need from your church community? What do you need from us?
What I need is like a place where I can be fully present while I'm having thoughtful conversations for just an hour or two a week, where I don't have to be thinking about what my children are doing, but I can really just take that time for reflection.
What do you hope for your children and church community?
I really hope that they find a place that they feel that they have an extended family, where people know their name and their birthdays and check in about their favorite things.
Sounds like you're looking for an extended family.
Yeah, that's what I had when I grew up. I never felt like I had just one set of parents, but more like 15 sets of parents. And it was a really, really neat childhood experience that I had, for sure.
I really appreciate the thoughtful solitude that the congregation provides me. When I can go and have someone that I trust watch my children and just be able to sit there and calm and think about things, have thoughts to myself. It's an amazing time.
Yeah. I really love watching other people love on my babies. It's the sweetest thing ever.
Say hello.
Hello, my name is Joseph Alexander Valdez.
How old are you?
I'm 6 years old, and my school is called San Hughes Elementary School, and I go to Grandma and Grandpa's church.
What do you do at the church?
Go to the playground.
What is it you like?
That there's a car at the playground.
Do you like visiting with the grown-ups?
Claire Evelyn Wurtenberger. My friends call me Evie, but that's only at school.
What do you want from your church community?
I guess from all adults to be seen as equals and not less than adults, because I know that we might be smaller and younger and we don't know as much, but I still feel like we should at least be treated as equals and have a say in things. I guess here at this church there's a lot of equality just in general.
My name is Efra Sosa Cesaras.
I kind of just want like a church and people. And definitely a lot of lightsabers.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Now is the time when we enter a new beginning that strangely happens at the end of something. Imagine nighttime sacred elders, twilight, starlight, the end of a day full of what happened, accounting for every story and every moment, elder. And imagine that night oozes into sacred darkness, that unknown space in the midst of a transition where it is neither one day or the other, but is not to be missed. And imagine that sweet morning sunlight over the circular horizon of our gorgeous planet that says something is emerging worth taking care of. And you don't know what it is, and it's still worth it. Sacred elders, sacred middle-aged people, sacred children, bless you. You are worth it. And you are not alone. Go in peace, knowing that we are stronger together. May it be so.